Hey, I didn't see you standing there. So, you've been following me? Great. Well, follow me a little bit more. I don't mean this way. I mean on my journey. Here I am, 67 years old, living in Pattaya, Thailand since the end of January. How did that happen? I'll give you a quick story, and then I'll follow up in the next few videos with everything of, am I going to work here? Am I going to earn the income? Or am I just going to live off of my Social Security? And also, what does it actually cost to move here? The startup costs, things like that, and also your daily expenses. But first, I really would appreciate it if you do a few things for me. Number one, please watch this video until the very end. The YouTube algorithm does not work if you turn it off part way in. Please like, please subscribe so you can see my future videos, and hit that little bell that allows you to get notifications whenever I post new videos. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to build a YouTube channel. My name on this channel is Boone in Thailand. And where does that come from? Well, Thais have a very difficult time pronouncing the letter R. So if they want to say my name Bruce, it comes out as Boosh. And I used to use a little bit of a nickname like Rex, but that comes out as Lex. So I asked around, and they came up with two names. The closest they came up with was Deuce. Well, Deuce isn't so bad, but it might sound like a feminine deodorant product if you say it incorrectly. The other name they came up with was Boone. And I couldn't find anything wrong with Boone. It sounds really good. So I got a new life here in Thailand. Why not a new name? So here I am, Boone in Thailand. In like March of 2023, my son Jason sent me a video captioned with, "Dad, you should go to Thailand." And it was about a man who was 48, 49 years old, who had just gotten over a divorce, was lonely, and he decided to go to Thailand, and he had the time of his life. He talked about the women, the peacefulness, the culture, the weather, all that type of things, and the expense as well. And it was a really long video. I watched the entire thing, and then I started watching some more videos. I made a plan to go in September of 2023. I was going to spend 4 nights in Phuket, which was always on my bucket list when I was married, because it's a great honeymoon, family town, and so on and so forth, but also good for singles. Then travel over to Pattaya for 4 more nights, and then back to Phuket for the last 3 nights, so I fly in and out of Phuket without having to go through the large city of Bangkok. And Pattaya was about an hour and a half flight from Phuket. Thailand has about 70 million people. It's a lot bigger than you think. Formerly known as Siam, now is affectionately known as the Land of Smiles. And 70 million people, it is a rather large country. It's the only country in Southeast Asia that has never been colonized by one of those other countries such as France, Britain, things like that. Anyway, come here. I come to Phuket. I arrive on a Wednesday night. I spent all day Thursday, all day Friday. Friday night, I get a phone call. My father passed away. My mother says, I talked to her Saturday morning, because don't forget, at that time, we were 11 hours ahead of them. And she says, you know what, no offense, but there's no reason for you to come home. You're on vacation, just enjoy it. Your father would have wanted you to stay. And before I left, the day before, I said to him, just hang out, be there till I come back. I know he was old, I know he was ill, I know his days were numbered, but he didn't live up to that. So I just felt, sort of as the black sheep of the family, that the best thing for me to do, since I would not be able to enjoy myself, was to get on a plane and fly back home. So at that point, I spent roughly 72 hours on the ground and about 48 hours in the air. Total loss of vacation. I got some refunded, but I lost most of it. Hindsight being 2020, I definitely should have stayed. But, if you're happy at the space that you are in life right now, then you have to accept that every bad step that you took along the way, including the good steps, of course, but those bad steps have also put you on the path to where I stand right at this moment. And if I'm happy where I am, then I have to accept that those steps were the right steps. Because had I gone in September, I never would have returned this time to Pattaya, what is that, 7 months later, 8 months later, 9 months later? So I did. I came in June of 2024, roughly a year ago last week. I spent 9 nights here. I spent the last 2 nights in Bangkok. Looking back, those last 2 nights were a mistake because I was tired, I wasn't feeling that great, and I missed a certain someone here in Pattaya who I met, somebody I started speaking to before I ever came here. And when I first got here, I thought, you know, you go into the land of smiles, the Baskin Robbins for single older men. Why stick with just vanilla? I wanted all 32 flavors, but 3 days into it, I just kept on thinking, God, that was the best vanilla flavor I've ever had. And I called this woman back, and I spent the rest of the time with her. I knew at that point, something in my DNA told me that I needed to be in Thailand. Not so much for her. Obviously, very, very gracious, happy, motivated. But it was the city, the culture, the pricing, the peacefulness, the safety. You can go out at 4 o'clock in the morning by yourself. The only crime that you'll really need to be worried about and wary of is scams. But if you're not an idiot, you're not going to fall for that. When someone says, give me this, I'll give this back to you or something like that, you obviously don't do it. But in Thailand, it is so safe here that the rumors are that if you lose your wallet, go to the nearest 7-Eleven. People sometimes find wallets and turn them in. Lots of times they leave them right where they are. People have dropped phones and picked them up hours later. Nobody locks their motorbike. They turn them off. They take the keys. So technically they are locked, but they don't put the chain in it. They don't do any of that stuff. They just put their helmets on the seats or on the handlebars and go about their day. Nobody steals the helmet. Nobody steals the bike. Yes, occasionally there is theft and so on and so forth. But if you don't put yourself in a bad situation, you can walk down the streets. I'm walking through this park that is meticulously maintained perfectly. So I came in June of 2024, went home. I knew I was going to come back. So I made plans to come back in late October to look for a real estate agent, to look at different condos, to figure out what it would cost, talk to visa agents to find out how to get a visa so I can stay here a long time. I play golf, so I hooked up with a group through this bar called Witherspoons, and many people, but specifically 3 people, Andrew, Sam, and Jason, have been very, very helpful for me to pick their brains. They've all been here for long times. Andrew's from Canada, the other 2 are from the United States. I learned what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and I realized that I could afford to stay here if I came to live. I figured maybe a year and a half at the best case scenario, and this was October of 24, May, because my Social Security would restart in May. I thought it was going to restart in February. At one point I thought it was going to restart in January, but there ended up being some communication problems and it didn't restart until May. Spoke to my mother, who was very generous and gracious, and she helped me make a start here. I sold my belongings. I paid off the lease in my apartment. I started selling all my furniture, all my belongings, all my memorabilia, and the last day I sold my car. So I just had a lump of cash. The night before I flew here in January of 2025, I slept on an old mattress with a sheet, not even a pillowcase, and not even a chair. Woke up in the morning, pushed the mattress into the trash room. I had packed 3 bags, one with my golf clubs, but stuffed with lots of other stuff. 2 suitcases, one that I had to pay extra because now I'm putting 3 bags on the plane, and a backpack. Drove to Virginia and flew here. I had already planned and made reservations in a hotel for 5 days, and I had a condo pretty much picked out, meeting with the agent, so I knew what my expenses would be. and I did it without any worry, fear, because what have I got to lose? Worst case scenario is I come home. Now I don't come home to anything, but I have family and I have friends, and I would never feel alone. Um, I've made more friends here in the short time that I've been here than I probably had in the last 5 or 6 years, sort of living and working at a gym and having tons of acquaintances and buddies. But as far as friends, people who I hang out every day, part of the reason is they're all the same, roughly the age, and we all have the same mindset. We're all here to enjoy life without any peace, worries, safety worries, financial worries, and so on and so forth. I thought about getting a job here. I was very interested in doing that. I talked about teaching English online, doing something in the fitness business, but none of that has panned out, and I'll explain to you why in a subsequent video. But if you ever think about visiting Thailand, much less moving here, reach out to me. There's so much that I have learned. There's so much more for me to learn. I'd love to pass that knowledge on to you. Having 330 days of sunshine, if not more, is not so bad. Average temperature in the 80s. Yes, it rains. Sometimes it pours and sometimes it floods because Thailand also is home to monsoons. And if you recall back in 2004, it had a devastating tsunami on the other side of the country in Phuket and surrounding areas for that. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to continue my walk through the park. I'm going to make another video talking about the expenses of setting up my life here and also my monthly. So like I said, please watch till the end. Click like, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love for you to comment below. Thanks. Check it out.